Hi, I'm Richard Karn, and you may have seen me on TV talking about the world's #1 expandable garden hose. Well, the brand new Pocket Hose Copperhead with Pocket Pivot is here, and it's a total game changer. Old-fashioned hoses get kinks and creases at the spigot, but the Copperhead's Pocket Pivot swivels 360 degrees for full water flow and freedom to water with ease all around your home. When you're all done, this rust-proof anti-burst hose shrinks back down to pocket size for effortless handling and tidy storage. Plus, your super light and ultra-durable Pocket Hose Copperhead is backed with a 10-year warranty. What could be better than that? I'll tell you what, an exciting exclusive offer just for you.
For a limited time, you can get a free Pocket Pivot and their 10-pattern sprayer with the purchase of any size Copperhead hose. Just go to getcopperhead.com. That's getcopperhead.com for your 2 free gifts with purchase. Getcopperhead.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Wrestling Art with Chris Things.
Ray! Do the hammerlock. I do the hammerlock. Ray! Do the hammerlock, you turkey necks. Yeah, do the hammerlock. I do the hammerlock. Everybody's doing it.
Hello, friends. Welcome to a little bit of Wrestling Art with Chris Things. I am Chris of the Chris Things, and I am bloody delighted to be back here for another little old episode of the podcast. This is our a match of the week little show that we're doing here. Another bit of triple header action to slowly get caught up with this match of the week series. This week I think we're like 120 to 122. So we're making it there, we're making progress here. We're going to be joined in a little bit by my dear pal Josh, my former tag team partner, like literal tag team partner, back in our wrestling days. So I'm very excited to be having Josh back on the show. He last was on the show when we also talked about a Black Tiger match, with his being a big-time Eddie Guerrero fan. So I'm delighted to have him back for us to chop it up. So we'll be being joined by Josh in a little bit. Very excited about that. But in the meantime, we have our What's Happening in the World of Chris Things intro monologue segment here. And again, as we're doing this on a bi-weekly basis, it's generally a bit more for me to catch you up on. So, what have we had on? So, we had, I guess I'll start with, this past Sunday, we had a special wrestling club event at the Scratch. It was our first one of 2026. I think I was rambling about this last time I did the podcast, but we had it happen. And it was a very, very lovely night. Everything I love about doing the wrestling club events at the Scratch. But yeah, we had the evening, and I think in our next episode I'll do a proper wrestling club edition of the podcast. Do our kind of like playlist debrief. So please know I'm still planning on doing that. But a big thing that happened on the event was I did sort of have the announcement of I think for now, in terms of on a monthly basis, I think it's just a little bit too tough to keep doing wrestling club in that way. So as we get into 2026, as we've got all the things going on from Cult Lucha on a monthly basis, and all the different group art shows, and possibly a solo show coming up later in the year, I just like. I think I definitely want to keep doing it. But in terms of doing it on a monthly basis, I think it's just a bit much. So yeah, I had a special kind of bit of feelings there at the end of the night. It was sort of nice. It felt like a little bit like like letting go of this kind of special thing. But my main thing that I'm trying to do here is it's not goodbye, it's just see you later. So I'm looking to keep on doing these wrestling club events more just as like a special sometimes food. So I am I'll be in talking about the things with the scratch, and we'll see whatever other opportunities might pop up. But yeah, I think it'd be a nicer thing rather than every single month to have to do this thing or have it too much of a regular basis. Like, let's just keep it as a special one-off event here and there. And I have an idea which might work out well for where our next one might be taking place, but I'll have to announce that in future mysterious ways. So rest assured, Wrestling Club is not dead. But yeah, I did have I did a little post the other day to just thank everyone because it felt so special to get to do this for all this time. We got up to 17 events. For the most part, doing that on a monthly basis, so that was way more than I ever expected when I started doing that thing in the basement of old Brewski Bar back in the day behind my house. So yeah, man, we'll see how we go. We'll have a special Wrestling Club commemoration episode next time. But yeah, for now, we'll see how we go for Wrestling Club into the future. But thank you so much, everyone who has supported this silly little initiative. In addition to that, we also have had a good amount of commission work that I've been working through, locking in future commission work. I sent off some orders this past week. And one of the orders that I sent off was one of these commission pieces that I got to do, and I was just so stoked with it. And I really love getting to do this. I have another one that I'm working on at the moment that is just like warms my heart by getting to bring people's visions to life. I really love doing it. So if you are interested in a Chris Things original commission piece of your own. Be that a sort of like, a hand-generated illustration that I then kind of like digitally color and we can get that out to you as a fancy art print, or even whether it might be like a physical painting or whatever it might be. Please don't hesitate to let me know, because I love making these things, and it's honestly one of my favorite parts of this job at the moment, the commission side of it and bringing other people's ideas to life. So I think my favorite part is that, generally the ideas that people come to me with are ones that I'm very, very excited to do. So I take that as a big compliment that people look at my work and they're like, hey, maybe you could do this. And I'm like, heck yeah, dude. So yeah, that's been a big part of my week. I've also been trying to line up some future different events and things of that nature. I just got the acceptance email the other day for the Oddities and Curiosities Expo that's coming up later in the year. It's always a big part of my my annual calendar. It's this year I'm planning on doing Adelaide as well. So in November and December I'll be doing Brisbane, Melbourne, Adelaide, and Sydney in big 2-day weekends in every one. So I'm gonna be tired after it. I know that, but I bloody loved it last year, so I'm stoked to be on board. I was honestly a little bit nervous whilst I was kind of waiting for that acceptance email. But you have to get over that a little bit in this job. Just the things will be how they be is what I try to say. But yes, so excited to have Oddities coming up later on. Next event we'll have Cult Lucha coming up later this month on the 19th, Sunday the evening of the 19th. And I'm looking to line up some other stuff. Oh, of course, we also have the illustration fair coming up in Brisbane. How could I forget about that? So a lot going on at the Chris Things here. But I'm about to get working on a piece of submission for a group art show that I'm very excited about. It's an international group art show that I'm very, very enthused about, and I have to be a little bit mysterious here, but let's hope it comes together. It's funny, like talking about a thing before you've made it. It's a bit of a high pressure deal, but it is what it is. But anyway, suffice to say, got a fair bit on the plate at the moment, but I'm happy about it. I love making art, so that always, makes this thing work a little bit easier. And yeah, I think that's about it for our little intro catch-up segment here. To finish it off, I've got my coffee here. I'm recording this on a Wednesday afternoon. Lovely filter coffee that I got from the great guys at Passport Coffee. It's a single origin Colombian number, Carambolo washed process. I don't know what that means. Caturra, Castillo, and Colombian beans. So, I mean, does that mean it's a single? I don't know. But apparently it's juicy, elegant florals and honey apricot vibes. And I can attest, very tasty. I didn't get paid to do that. I wish, man. If I can get some sponsorships rolling in here to get paid in the form of getting coffee beans, that'll be a bloody nice time. Anyway, I think we're ready for a little bit of match of the week action. Let's get into the studio with Josh.
Hell yeah, pepper fish.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are here, a little match of the week, triple header action here, and we're being joined by a dear old pal of the show, someone who has been on before to talk about one of the gentlemen in one of the matches that we have today. But welcome to the show, my dear bud Josh.
G'day. How's it going? Thanks for having me.
Mate. It's we're recording this after dinner here in Australia. It's a nighttime recording podcast, so I don't know whether I'll have the same level of energy, but I'm hoping I do. We'll see how we go.
I reckon you will. These matches are pretty good.
I feel like once we get nerding out about the matches, definitely we'll turn it up. But yeah, so I feel like at this point, whenever you've told me this, whenever there's a Eddie match on hand, you're the guy. I gotta give you first dibs there.
Absolutely. He's my favorite wrestler ever, despite my tattoos. But he's the GOAT, and I love watching everything he does, even still.
Oh man,
crazy to think that he hasn't been around for like 21 years.
It's insane, hey? I still remember just watching Eddie matches on like SmackDown, just being able to tune in each week and you just have this insanely great match to look forward to.
Yeah.
Wild.
Ultimate weekly operator, just everything he always did was so good. It's extra weird because it's I turned 38 this year.
I'm turning 40 this year, dude.
Oh, doesn't time fly? Especially when you're having fun. But he just that was how old he was when he passed away, wasn't it?
Was he?
I think it was something like that.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, it was super nuts. I was just thinking about it today. I was watching it. I was like, I'm his age, and yeah.
Have you seen those Pedro Pascal? Someone put together, mocked up like a Eddie movie poster with Pedro Pascal playing him.
Oh, really?
That would be pretty perfect.
That would be awesome. Do you reckon he'd go and get super juiced up for it and have a giant giant lats and big biceps and stuff? That'd be awesome.
I mean, I would feel bad that he would have to do that, but can you be Eddie in those late stages of his life if you're not just gassed with all of the steroids in the history of the world? I don't think so.
Are you method or not, brother?
Yeah. You gonna Randy the Ram this shit, or
you gonna keep kayfabe, or you gonna be a fucking little wuss?
Oh, so we have an interesting era of Eddie to be talking about here. Where I think the last time we had you on, we were talking about a Black Tiger match.
We were. We did talk about a Black Tiger match. Was it Dean Malenko? I think he wrestled Dean Malenko.
Yes. That was the one.
It was good.
And So funnily enough, we're here back again. I ended up on this one from a Great Sasuke watching kick, and this was a match that I'd never I think I must have watched that back in the day because it was like a pretty famous tape that came out way back when. But I hadn't watched it in the longest time, and it just everything about it just rocked so much. It just brought back all the nostalgia and everything that's so great about Eddie as Black Tiger.
Also, early New Japan as well. Like the show just being called NJPW Skydiving.
Skydiving J.
Yeah, Skydiving
So
J. Yeah, just classic, and so many other good matches on the card too. I don't know if they were good. I didn't watch the whole thing,
Oh,
but
dude, stellar
yeah.
show. It was pretty
They had
groundbreaking.
Jushin Liger and Dick Togo,
So great.
and Ultimo Dragon.
Incredible Kazushi Sakuraba match as well.
Just names everywhere, all people that are going to be future big names, and some big names that are already quite big. But yeah, just a cool who's who of early 90s Japanese wrestling.
Of junior heavyweight wrestling too. That was a big groundbreaking thing about this show because it was an all juniors show at Budokan Hall. And stellar show all around, and then it leads up obviously to the I'm not sure if you saw the post match, but where everyone throws their belts in the ring, and it leads up to the big J Cup tournament.
Yeah,
where everyone in that thing has a belt, and it winds up with Sasuke and then Ultimo Dragon with just a bloody bajillion belts for a hot minute there.
Yes, yeah, some great promo photos.
Incredible.
Yeah, I remember back in the Queensland days where you'd have certain people trying to give themselves as many belts as possible so they could take those photos.
I swear I remember from these, maybe I don't know if it was when Liger had it, but there was one bit where he had just a bunch of models come out with holding each of the belts for him.
Yes, I've seen that. I've seen that. Classic.
So great.
You gotta love it.
But so for our match here today, the match is in discussion where we're talking match of the week number 120 through 122. And the first cab off the rank is the one we're talking about. It's Black Tiger, Eddie Guerrero, Black Tiger 2, in fact, against one of my all-time favorites, Great Sasuke. This was for the IWGP Jr Heavyweight Championship. Sasuke is the champion going into this one. He recently won it from Liger a little bit earlier in the year. And dude, yeah, like I said, Skydiving J, the Budokan Hall venue, this. The only thing missing of this was the show that we watched it on. It didn't have the entrance on it. That was the only thing that really made me sad.
Yeah, they were just in the ring.
What are you going to do?
Exactly. I mean, you were just lucky to find a 360p upload of a beautiful match like this. So you're truly the master. I always tell everyone that you're like what's it called, like an archaeologist. You're just digging up sweet old bones and hanging them up in a museum. They're awesome. You find these awesome old matches and you just paint them into these little masterpieces, and you have them available on christhings.com. Shout out christhings.com.
.com.au. Thank you.
.au. Sorry, we don't. I think christhings.com leads straight to a porn site.
Yeah, dude, this was a funny one because it's I think I just trying to get the find a link to this currently was just absurdly difficult. Because of all of you think it's that same bullshit of physical media versus streaming, right? In theory, we live in an age where it's easier to find anything than ever. It should all just be, a couple clicks away. That's not the case. New Japan World has their own, streaming service. This match or show are nowhere to be found on it.
Oh, so many streaming services, so bad.
Oh, dude, it annoys the shit out of me. There's nowhere on like Daily Motion.
Yep. They're deleting the internet. They're deleting the internet and they're commodifying it, and the stuff they don't want is getting left in the lurch. And
So
it's
frustrating.
beautiful Japanese wrestling matches from 1994 or 1996. It's really a good time in wrestling. The 90s in general, just bangers all the time.
Oh, what a time! Like just look at 1996 in Japan. You got New Japan just like in one of their prime, most hot, crazy good periods. Like even
Hmm.
if you're just looking at the junior heavyweight wrestling, but then like all around that card is just full of greatness. You got All Japan.
But it like changed wrestling as well.
Oh, dude, for real. Like All Japan doing amazing stuff.
Hmm.
FMW as well, like just what is it like Michinoku Pro, just such
Hmm.
a stellar period of wrestling.
I remember just being like dumbfounded when I was finding out about Japanese wrestling from you, no doubt. But like that you've heard of like, three promotions that you kind of watch. It's WCW and WWE and ECW, I guess. And that's what you'd like. Oh, that's what I'd heard of. And then you're like, check this out. And it's like maybe six different promotions in Japan, and you give me like a stack of like 100 DVDs. And they're all just like awesome shows, and every arena's got like at least 5,000 people in it.
All right, we're back. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, but it wouldn't be a wrestling art recruiting that wasn't the case. We were just talking about like all of the keeping up with like a shitload of American wrestling, and then you're like, hey, here's like six different Japanese wrestling promotions to follow as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just watching like Raw and SmackDown and whatever bullshit WWE are putting out 8 hours a week, and you're just like, why are you wasting your time with this? And just setting me ablaze on these amazing promotions that are just killing it. But yeah, like even like from the perspective of like, once you get into it and you find out all the indies in America, that are all amazing, but you go and watch those shows and it's like there's 200 people. But like all the
Yeah,
Japanese ones, like the big ones, were just like selling out like every arena on like a Thursday night or whatever, just like for shits and giggles.
just insane business.
Still doing house shows that are just doing like crazy numbers, and people are just like working a 12-hour day and just like getting the subway to a wrestling show and staying out all night and then sleeping in the subway and going back to
Dude,
work.
what a time. What a time to be alive. You just finish at the office,
Hmm.
you jump on that train, go to Korakuen Hall,
Oh,
see an amazing wrestling show, and that's just like your Thursday night.
yeah.
And you talk to everyone at work in the office by the water
Yeah.
cooler, tell them how sick that Misawa or Kobashi match that you just happened to see was.
And everybody knows what you're
What the
talking
fuck?
about.
Yeah. It's like on the newspaper, like sports section covers and shit.
Like
Wild.
it's like a Broncos game here or something. Just
Mm.
did you watch Shinsuke Nakamura? Oh hell yeah, that went on.
I mean, I've sort of like I've curated enough of a bubble now where it's like most of my friends, I'm talking about like that's sort of where we're
That's
at.
the
But
majority of my conversations.
I mean, sadly, we don't all work in the same office, so we're just like bumping into one another
Yeah,
at the coffee machine, but here's what it is. But
still
yeah,
great.
oh dude, this match was
Oh, isn't it?
so interesting because one thing that I read afterwards about it, which I don't know whether it's true or not, and I wonder if this might be like an explanation of the pacing, was apparently one of the dudes in this match was sick with like the flu.
Oh, that that really makes no sense because they were really going at it by the end.
I mean, it's interesting because like you watch
I
it.
thought it did like start really technical, right? Like it was like a lot of kind of back and forth, and I love how.
Which I loved.
Oh yeah, and I really love how Black Tiger or Eddie just he like went to Japan and he just like knew how to work Japanese. Like he just would come in and like all the outside the stuff like in the ring, like the pace that he like would just sprint at Sasuke and just like smash into him and like knock him like fully just throw him like 5, 6 feet whatever into the barrier. but like the way that he did it, like it was just like real kind of brutish and strong style. Like you don't really see it that much. Like I don't know, like especially
Oh,
like
he just
watching back.
bullies him so much through the match,
Yeah,
eh?
yeah, and it's like he starts, with one thing, and it's not working. Like he's not getting anything with the shoulder, and he like switches, and he's like, "Well, fuck it, I'll just
Mm.
go for the knee." And it's like it's just clever, and it's like it's funny because like the whole time Sasuke is just like he's desperate. I feel like maybe he was the sick one because the first like part of the match, like anytime he gets any kind of leg up or gets out of something or whatever, he just chucks on a sleeper.
Yeah. Oh, but that was his main bit of offense, right? Where
Yeah.
he's like going for those chokes.
Hmm.
But even that, like, it seemed like he was doing it with such a level of like desperation
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
thing, because like
Exactly.
that was his. Like, he was going for it with his everything, which I thought was really cool. But yeah, I guess like people would watch this match and expect it's going to be this like
Really
non-stop
fast.
high
Yeah.
flying like high spot driven kind of thing.
Hmm.
But I think what actually makes it a lot more interesting is the fact that we get so much like submission work throughout, and I think it actually like tells such a cool
Yeah.
story, like all the way through of like Eddie just like dominating him
Hmm.
and bullying him around, and the great underdog that is Sasuke just like at any moment just trying to like grab whatever he's got,
Hmm.
except then Eddie just like keeps cutting him off like straight up.
Literally, it's just like he's all over him and he's just like killing it and he doesn't know what to do. And it's like, well, that's the story. So he's like, it's like as soon as he has just like the tiniest opening, he just like suplexes him out of the ring. Get out of here.
Oh, that was so rude.
Yeah, he just like dumped him like a full on, and it was just such
But
a
like
good.
from where the camera was as well, so
Yeah,
like it's like you can't even really see where Eddie goes. It's just like he gets like dumped into the abyss. It's fantastic.
yeah, just like out of the shot. It's great. And then like he goes for the dive, and Eddie moves out of the way, and then so he just climbs to the top rope and just does this like insane drop kick where he just throws his entire body into it, and it's just like from the very top rope, like off the post.
Like from the top rope to the outside,
Yeah,
this bananas like fucking like side rider kick. He's just like takes probably a full bump on like his back or ass or his hip
yeah,
or
yeah. It would
something
have just
awful.
sucked.
Like
Like it's not
just
like flat, and
pure
it's like
insanity.
there's barely any mats there, and he's just like, oh yeah, so good, just like, and it's such a good kick too because it like he fully like uses Black Tiger to break his fall, and so like it's not he's like pushing away from him, and so he goes flying, and he still eats shit on the ground. It's just such a good move because it just looks so good,
It
and
was
it's
like a
like
kung fu action movie like
yeah,
thing, and it was worked so organically as well because he goes for like the dive on him initially,
hmm,
and then like Eddie moves out of the way, and then this is Eddie's like, oh well, I'm up near the entranceway. You can't get me over here, you little bitch. And
hmm.
then he's like, well, here we go. It's just the most insane dive. But just I remember when I first watched it, I was like, this is just one of the most wild things I've ever seen.
It's great because it's like once he kind of gets back into the ring there, it's like it's they go back and forth, and then it builds to like them being on the rope, and they kind of like slip.
Oh, dude, there's a bunch of matches in there, moments in this match where it's like things almost feel like they don't go quite right,
Hmm.
but then it kind of makes it even better
Well, because they
because he
save it.
does slip and then he gets him back up, and then he's like, "All right, I'm going to jump on you," and then Eddie just immediately counters it into the most like badass power bomb that just
So
looks like it would
good.
have been so painful to take.
100%. But it's like even the wherewithal for both of them to be like, all right, that's done for. We're gonna try and get down and like do something else. And then it's like you can't go back to the same spot. And so he's
Mm.
just like, well, you're down there, I'm gonna jump up here. It's like the wherewithal to just like both of them be so in sync and hit this like perfect power bomb that looks incredible and they just eat it. Like it's so good.
Yeah, I mean the other one that I really really loved was like the classic like Black Tiger BT bomb where he sort of gets him up like the
Hmm.
Splash Mountain or like Razor's Edge kind of like
Hmm.
move, and he just hits it like so great, and then that's like the perfect near fall.
He's just so
Yeah,
strong. Like you just see him like how old is he there? He's got to be like early 20s
yeah, I guess he
or
probably
like
mid
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 20s
twenties.
and he's just like jacked to the gills and just like picks him up over the shoulder and then just holds him up. Like people aren't built like that anymore. Like you just see there'll be like 2 or 3 guys in the WWE that would like be able to kind of do that to anyone. Like remember back in the day, like in the 90s, like everybody could just like lift everyone above their heads. Like now it's just kind of like some people can do it, but it's like only the really, really like big guys that are getting the big push or whatever. And whereas like back in the day, it's like WCW is just like every cunt had someone fucking above his head and just like tossing him as far as they could or whatever. Even like every promotion, it was just like the back body drops and all the vertical suplexes and all the big chuck someone into the air, like front face, face plant. I'm so bad with wrestling move names now. That's why I used to know every single name.
Man, like especially the junior heavyweights in that scene, like in WCW, like you'd have, you know, these smaller guys, and then you have the guys that are like that, just that little bit bigger, who'll just do all of these like badass power moves to like the smaller guys, and like that was, I think, one of my favorite parts about Eddie. You know, when he was like more in the cruiserweight division, and then obviously he's like insanely great matches against like Ray Jr. But like him just
he's the power guy.
these dudes around. Like Jericho as well, he used to do these like awesome like military presses like off the top rope, just like throwing these dudes around. Like there's something so great about like that kind of like junior heavyweight guy that's sort of just kind of on the precipice of the higher end of the weight limit, just being able to like bully these smaller guys around.
Yeah, and I think like to go back to like the technical side of the match and like the submissions and all that stuff, like everything looks super clean, and it's like all of it's just so good because it's like UFC is not, you know, a scourge on the world as yet, and like there's also like they're not really doing it like that. They're still trying to figure out what UFC is. And then you just have pro wrestling that's like already using all this stuff in like ways that are, you know, I guess they had to move away from over time because like the UFC was so legit that like that kind of like catch as catch can wrestling kind of became a bit of a lost art, and it became a bit of a like tick box in a match rather than like part of the match itself.
Yeah, well, this is like such an interesting time to see that kind of
like I think just casual wrestling fans and everyone like expected something more.
Yeah. I mean, this was a very interesting environment, like in Japan at this time, because this is sort of like right during that like boom period of shoot style wrestling in Japan, and like the early to mid '90s with like, you know, you had like Pancrase that was just having like crazy shit happen and kind of like blurring that line between work and shoot. Like UWFI, and you know, before that, like Pro Wrestling Fujiwara Gumi and like rings and shit. Like, so I guess there was a big influence of that kind of like shoot style wrestling. This was like just before kind of like Pride started.
It was just like 16 masochists like in a ring giving themselves CTE for no reason.
Oh my god,
beautiful.
Like buddy Ken Shamrock and shit.
Yeah,
man.
And I thought I saw a really good, like I watched it as well, and I was taking notes all through it, and then I wanted to see if anybody else had kind of like watched it recently. So I like put the date of the match in and like put the match in, and I found like a dude's blog, like Scott's blog of doom. Shout out Scott.
Yeah.
But he had made a really good point of like through that match, like it was like Eddie Black Tiger trying to like get the best of Sasuke and just like dominating him. And then Sasuke like was kind of getting over him by being like more athletic and being able to kind of, you know, get out in front of him. And then like, and it was like when Black Tiger tried to turn it around and be like, well, I'm going to fucking do the fancy move now. And he's pulling him up to the ropes to do the big T-bomb, and then like goes for the finish. And then it turns into like the Hurricane Rana, and like that's just like the maddest like counter. And it's like all match he's been kind of getting away with the tricky stuff and doing the high flying moves and doing whatever. And Black Tiger's kind of like, I can do that. I'm going to one up you, and then getting reversed on and losing the match because of it. Like it was just such a good ending to the whole side of it. Like
it's so perfect.
Yeah, I just agreed with it like so fully. I was like, it was exactly what I was kind of like felt about it, and he just kind of when I saw it, because I was just looking it up, And it was funny because I was looking and I was like, oh, I wonder if like, if there's any Reddit posts or whatever about it. And I found this blog, but it was like only after I found it was like on your website was like the third link down on Google for the match.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, I was like, hell yeah. But yeah, I was like going through, so I like saw that and I saw all the paintings of the matches again, and I was like, oh, they're so good. And then yeah, I was like, oh, let's see if I can find this write up, and I just see this awesome write up, and it's like it was done like June last year. So it's like some guys just fucking doing what we're doing and just cataloging these like matches. It's so good. And it's such a nice write up too. Like,
Dude, it's a good time to be like a fan of this stuff because like there are a lot of really talented like writers out there
mm-hmm.
that will like write about these kind of matches and these like classics and stuff that was like kind of, seen as a bit more kind of like rare or underground back in the day. But it's like, I guess, a lot more accessible now. But you have a lot of people just approach it with such a thoughtful kind of like way of writing. Like there's quite a few different guys that I really like, but it's one of my favorite things I think at the moment. Like, I mean, there's a Cage Match, which is like one of the big websites where you just get like all sorts of people, kind of like the Rotten Tomatoes of wrestling, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
where you get a lot of people just give their opinions.
Cage Match, you said?
Yeah. And there's some really good people on there, but it varies. But there are some really switched on people on there as well,
Mm-hmm.
I reckon.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think it's a really cool
And I like it gives you like an average rating. Like
Yeah.
everybody who watches the match can go on and rate it, and you can get like a rating, so you can get a vibe what everyone else felt about it and stuff too. Like I thought that was pretty nice. I mean, this stuff's probably been around for 20 years by the looks of how the website looks. But it's like it's just so good. It's so cool that people still use it. And it was like going back through and being like, oh, AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura. I was like, they must have had like heaps and heaps of matches. And it's like they've like it was a lot of tag matches and like maybe 5 to 10 singles matches, and most of them were in the WWE and were just kind of like Raw and SmackDown and giving him 5 minutes to kind of move the show along or whatever, and it was never something that they got to like do. I mean, it's probably a good segue to this next match if that was the one you had in mind.
Well, in the chronological order of things, we've got our Satánico versus Ultimo Guerrero match in between. But
right.
you're definitely right. I love Cage Match for that. You're able to just like look at these stats and just be like, oh, when did these guys last wrestle? Or like, when did they last wrestle in Japan? And it's so easy to find this stuff out. And I think what you're saying about like the ratings is an interesting one. I think it's like it can be both awesome and it can suck sometimes because like it can give you a great impression of something that can be like that everyone says is really good, and shock horror, it is really good. But then you get a lot of other stuff where it's like people might not be necessarily watching it with the most open mind, or they might be expecting something and then it's something else. And you get stuff that I think sometimes can be really underrated. And I think this is a match like that because, like, generally speaking, from a lot of the takes that I read about this match, it was generally people being like, "Oh, this was kind of like seen as a bit of a disappointing match of theirs." But like, I watch it and I'm like,
really,
dude, like you watch this, and I don't know whether it's maybe there's a bit more of an appreciation now for like more of that submission work and just how tight that submission work was, even like with today's eyes, like it almost like this kind of comes across better maybe now than even if you were watching this like in the 90s. I don't know, but sometimes I think it's cool to have stuff where it's like other people might not have fully appreciated it, and you can be like, dude, well, I think you're nuts because this rocks.
Yeah, and I mean, I think to your point, I would have agreed with that had I not watched it for a little bit longer and realized that it was a 2 out of 3 falls match. I was like that first fall.
Oh, you're talking about the Satánico match. Sorry, I was still talking about the Black Tiger Sasuke.
Oh, right. My bad. We'll have to cut that.
That's all right.
But the Yeah, the Sasuke one was so good, and like I thought, yeah, the little like it went straight to the roundup of like everybody putting their belts in the ring straight after as well,
So great. And I have to make
which I
mention
like.
of, like, I don't know if you noticed, but in it there were two of them where Eddie, like, we're talking about Eddie just like using his power and like bullying him around. He had two of the most like awesome, like Scott Steiner-esque, like belly to bellies that I just like lost my shit for.
Oh, the one where he caught him and
Mm.
then he kind of like sandbagged it, and he just didn't let him hit the ground. And he just like beefed him up there, like it was like the most like old school strength you've ever seen. Like it was just like anybody else would have just let him fall, and he was like, "Nah," and like his legs and his like hip are like touching the ground, and he's like sandbagging, and he just picked him up anyway. And just
As in my
it's so good. It's just like the most like brute strength like power move you'll ever see. It's like even though it was like a little bit of botch, it was like still so good. Like it just made it better to be like he didn't give up on it, and he was just like, I'm gonna fucking bust this guy. I don't care.
Yeah, that is exactly what I'm talking about stuff where it's like, in a sense, it maybe didn't go quite as
Yeah, people don't
smoothly,
find that as
but
satisfying.
like for me, that just made it so much better.
Yeah, 100%. And I like, yeah, pushing through those ones. Like, and it's like even like at the end when he's trying to do the big move off the ropes,
Mm.
and it's like it's just two guys with just gigantic lats trying to get their arms around each other. It's just like problems you wouldn't have in 2026.
Yeah, a bit. I did want to finish on this one by mentioning the illustration I did of this one with the sick brainbuster, which, oh my gosh, just
Oh, it's so
amazing
good. It's like the
brainbuster.
cleanest brain buster. I love it so much.
Such a great reaction from the crowd as
It's
well.
just
They
like
just have this like, oh.
it's it's picture perfect because it's like exactly how a brain buster should be done, where you kind of as soon as someone's vertical, you just throw your entire body at the ground, and it's like it just looks like a total neck cane, but like just the angle in which it goes looks way worse, and it's just like it's just so brutal looking, and it's like it's kind of like a lost art sometimes. Like you see some people like I'll watch certain shows now where people will kind of do it, and it's kind of like just a vertical suplex sometimes, like unless it's like someone who's like super technical, or I think Kyle Fletcher has a good one. Yeah, such a good brainbuster. Just a total just skull crusher. I love it. It's just like throwing. It's like you throw your whole legs out from under you and just like peg your body at the mat backwards. It's so good. And the photo, the painting you did is so good as well. All the sweat dripping off, like the angle as well is perfect.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, this one.
And like Sasuke's eyes are like closed as well.
Like, oh,
There's so many good little details in it.
this one was so I'm not sure if you noticed, but in the match, like I think the angle that they got of the brainbuster was different to this one. So I actually like found an old like magazine photography that they had of this match. That just the photographer got the
Amazing.
sickest angle, and I was like, all right, yeah, thank you. This is what I need to use. So a lot of the time when I do these things,
Yeah, you're like looking for the perfect.
yeah. A lot of time I'll use the kind of just a lot of screen grabs from the match, but sometimes you're lucky enough you can find some rad photography from it. So I feel like that's what made this one.
To get details in a 360
Right.
pixel. But yeah, it's so good. Like all the masks are like everything's just so perfect about it. I love it.
It was a bit of a challenge because like only sort of a bit of Eddie's like Black Tiger mask is like showing. And so when it's like that kind of amount is like disfigured, you want the bit that's showing to at least sort of like capture the
Be super accurate.
yeah, like it just to give you the sense that, oh yeah, that's Black Tiger. So that was like kind of tricky. I really wanted to try to get the eye.
Yeah, and you can fully tell it is as well. Like, yeah, it's just so good. I love
it.
it.
Fun one to do. So that was nice. But now we go down to our next one here in our match of the week series. We now have match of the week 121. We travel to Mexico for this bad boy. We're in CMLL. It's 2001, May 11th, 2001, in fact, in the most famous arena in Mexico. It is Arena Mexico, and we have a match between two of my favorites, Ultimo Guerrero and El Satánico. in just a battle of two amazing bad guys. And the kind of like backstory to this is there's this really famous rudo bad guy faction called Los Infernales, and Satánico was the longtime leader of it. Then Ultimo Guerrero ends up being part of it, his tag team partner Ray Bucanero as well, and this other pal of theirs, Tarzan Boy. Great names here. And then for whatever reason, Satánico really just hates Tarzan Boy, and he just doesn't want him part of his faction anymore. And then, Ultimo Guerrero and Ray Bucanero are like, hey, he's cool. Come on, why are you being so mean to Tarzan Boy? He's like, no, I hate him. He's the worst. So this like plays out over like multiple matches and stuff. And then eventually, Satánico's like, he's had so much enough with Tarzan Boy, but then Ultimo Guerrero and Ray Bucanero then are like, you know what? Fuck you, old man. And then they attack the leader and kick him out of his own group. And so then we kind of have this like Infernales versus Infernales feud. The Ultimo Guerrero kind of ends up becoming Los Guerreros, which was another, very famous heel faction. So, funnily enough, the way this works is like one of the greatest bad guy lucha rudos of all time, El Satánico, kind of becomes like a babyface in this match, and that's what kind of makes it.
Yeah, it is. It's funny because it's like watching him. It's like he doesn't want to show that he's a babyface either. Like he's still like, I'm still like the heel, so it's like he's not really like, trying to play to the crowd or trying to do whatever. So it kind of makes it, I don't know, even more special, I reckon, just because it's like they're both kind of going at each other. Because I did read a little bit into that as well. Because I was like, El Satánico, Ultimo Guerrero. And I was like, originally I was like, no relation to the Guerreros. And then I started looking into that. And then I started looking at, I saw all the faction stuff and whatever. And I'd definitely seen El Satánico before. And then just like, all the stuff of like him just being like the hair versus mask guy, like the OG hair versus mask guy, and then like so good, and then so like even when the match starts and like what we were talking about before with like the first fall coming, and then like it's kind of like the first bit is just it just happens so fast.
Oh yeah.
And you're kind of like watching it and being like, oh shit. Like, and I did at the time, like I was watching this link, I didn't even realize that it was like a 2 or 3 falls match. And so I was like, oh, that
like that's a fascinating little short match there that Chris sent me. That's a weird one.
Why did you send me this? This is like 3 minutes. I was like, masterclass in someone getting away with feet on the ropes on the first attempt. Just like I was like, is it esoteric enough? But it's great. And then like straight after that, it was like El Satánico was getting all pissed off, and then he went to kind of do something about it, and the ref grabs his arm, and then Guerrero gets to like take a cheap shot on him, and then the match goes on from there. And I'm kind of like, the ref doesn't kind of like do too much else for the rest of the match. Like he's kind of like involved in little bits and like, but he's not like part of it. And I was like, that's so weird. And I looked at it, and it's like the ref was like, he just wanted to because El Satánico is like Satan.
Yeah.
So the ref was just like trying to like stop him from winning, just so that he wouldn't win because he's Satan. I was like, that's the gimmick, and I was like, that's so good. That made me laugh so much. I was like, that's great.
I was so interested, like your thoughts on this match, because this is what I really just kind of like threw you out of left field, and I think this is just a fantastic match. But like, it's so interesting to think about if you're approaching it, you're watching it for the first time with like no baseline, but you just sort of like take it like, well, these guys seem to really not like one another.
Yeah. So much happens like so quickly as well, because like Guerrero jumps him from behind to like start the match, and so he's like automatically on the back foot, which is like fucking classic. Like if you're gonna have a big feud, like good way to start a match, I've got to say. but like just
And he just beat the shit out of him.
but it's so good because it's like it's clearly like there's hate there, and they're like he just kicks the shit out of him for a bit, gets a cheap win, and then instead of like playing to the crowd, he just like runs into the crowd and then poses for a photo with like two guys that have Guerrero's on. It's so good, absolute classic.
Yeah, and then we get into the second round, and this is where Satánico really brings it back to Ultimo Guerrero.
Really kicks the shit out of him,
dude. Oh, right. You're like you almost feel bad for Satánico in the first bit. You're just like, man, this young Ultimo Guerrero is really bullying this like, legend that is Satánico. Satánico's probably only in his 40s at this point.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I'm not sure if you're aware, but Satánico just retired.
I know. I saw
week.
that. Yeah, it was like I was like, yeah, he's finally retired after like 53 years of wrestling.
Insane, right?
So good.
But so good for so long.
I love it because when the match started, I was like, oh yeah, we got two like old grizzled vets like beating each other up, and they're just really going at it. And I'm thinking like, and I looked up and Guerrero was like 26. He had such an old man body. It was so good. He looked like a freaking like a bricklayer his whole life.
I just love how chunky both these dudes are. Just that real like barrel chested like badass.
But in the best way. Yeah. Yeah. Like total pro wrestler look.
Yeah. But yeah, the second round we just see so much amazing fire from Satánico, and the crowd just like gets behind him like nothing else, and it's like one of the most awesome things I ever did see. And I'm not sure if the punches were in the second or in the third round, but it's been a while since I watched this one. My biggest recollection was just how incredible those like El Satánico punches are. It just lights him up.
I think it was the second round. Because it was just like that first round, yeah, he was just so mad, and it's like, it's just like everybody. There's nothing like people just are happy to watch some dude get punched in the face. Like pro wrestling is what it is, and you could add everything to it, but like at the end of the day, you could just have a match where two guys just punch each other. And if you do it right, like people are going to love it. And I feel like this second round was like a perfect example of that.
Especially if the punches are this good. Like this, like punches gave
exactly because they're like stiff too,
like Jerry Lawler vibes or Terry Funk.
For sure, it's so good, and it's like because it's like he finally gets back into the ring after like going out into the crowd and comes back and just gets popped in the mouth like straight away, and it just doesn't stop. It's just like it goes for ages. It's awesome.
I've got good news and bad news. Here's the bad news. Most protein bars are packed with sugar and unpronounceable ingredients. The good news? There's a better option. I'm Will, and I created IQ Bar plant protein bars to empower doers like you with clean, delicious, low-sugar brain and body fuel. IQ bars are packed with 12 grams of protein, brain nutrients like magnesium and lion's mane, and zero weird stuff. And right now, you can get 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping. Try our delicious IQ Bar sampler pack with 7 plant protein bars, 4 hydration mixes, and 4 enhanced coffee sticks. Clean ingredients, amazing taste, and you'll love how you feel. Refuel smarter, hydrate harder, caffeinate larger with IQ Bar.
Go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20 to get 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping. Again, go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20.
Then we go into the third, and I can't remember where the mask tearing starts, but that is, again, where this just gets taken to a whole nother place.
Well, I think it was like towards the end, because it's like when the match kind of goes to shit because a Tarzan boy comes out in his big... I love that Tarzan boy's in a big fuck-off neck brace. And then Ray comes out as well. And he's in a giant cast in his arm. And his move is to like run up behind him and just like clothesline him in the back of the head with his cast. It's so good.
Why not?
And then, yeah, who's the other guy that comes out? The end to try to chase
on Satánico's side.
Yeah.
I remember he had like Mascara Magica, I want to say. or he ends up with someone else on his team. I'm not sure if it's like Hector Garza, or I'm a little bit fuzzy on it. But then we get a great three-way.
Oh, Shocker? Is it Shocker?
Yeah, Shocker. That's it. You're right. I
Yeah.
remember Shocker from TNA days back when.
Yeah. Early TNA.
But yeah, we get a tremendous trio smash from that point with the 3-on-3. That's also like so great. But yeah, man.
Oh yeah.
Like the whole rivalry is awesome.
I feel like that'd be a good one to just try and find stuff on and just try and look that up, because it's just like it was such a good pace match, because it was like, cheap shot in the beginning and then like a quick fall, which is like such a classic like best of three match
for sure
move. And then like having like one where just Satánico just fucking kicks the shit out of him for ages. And then they kind of like get really into it, but like Satánico is like kicking his ass, and that's where he like kind of rips the mask, and then like that's when everyone starts interfering and it kind of goes crazy. And did it end on like a count out?
I was not sure whether it was a count out or like a disqualification or what the story was, but I mean it's the classic thing of like that sort of like classic lucha thing where it's like, all right, we're definitely not getting a clean finish here because we've got to keep it going for the next week, and then like that's kind of the way this thing works. And such a real like classic lucha thing from that was exactly what CMLL was like when I first started watching it, like in the early 2000s. You're just like, oh, okay, so most of the matches end with someone being kicked in the balls and there being a disqualification, but then we have a reason to see them wrestle the next week. And I kind of love that.
Mm-hmm. It really is like, it's like people are going to show up because they're doing however many shows a week. And like, it's just a good way to get people back. And it's like, it's also going to be on TV. It's such a good way to do stuff. Like, I feel like, all the big kind of big money wrestling and stuff now is just like, you'll set a rivalry and it's like, unless it's like, John Cena versus Randy Orton or someone where they'll just drag it out for like 9 months. And it's like they'll have other matches with other people and kind of wind it back wherever. It's like, they don't really do that. Like in like WWE or AEW, like it's like a 3-week, 4-week lead up and then you get the payoff match and then whatever. And it's like, and there'll be like one big match, that leads up to WrestleMania or whatever where people will like, it'll go for a couple of months. But like for the most part, most of the massive roster is just like week to week, no one really gets storylines. Whereas like in CMLL, everybody has different little storylines and everybody's always doing something like, and it's like, it gives people a reason to come back. And it's like, it's something that we, could never do because it's like you're having a show once a month. Whereas when you're having 2-3 shows a week, it's like, it makes sense and everyone's going to come back and it's cheap to go. Everyone's going to bring the family. It's going to be like this whole thing. And every time it's packed out. Every time it's awesome. It doesn't have to end. You don't need a definitive ending. You can just drag it out to the next week and everyone's going to come back anyway. So it's like, it's just such a good way to tell stories.
Yeah, you got to give people a reason to come back that next Friday. Like, all right, well, shit, we got to see the next part of this. Like, it's one of those classic things.
And then when you finally get the payoff, like it'd be cool to see the payoff at the end of this rivalry, like that match. Because I reckon it would be pretty crazy. I reckon it'd be awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to be like a hair versus mask match for sure.
Oh, yeah. I just wish there was more footage of this stuff. Like, you watch as much as you can possibly find, but, you just kind of, like, take what you can get. But I do wish, like, man, what it would have been like to be, like, in that crowd and being, like, watching it on a weekly basis, dude.
Especially, just being local, like, living around the corner or whatever, and being like, yep, I'm going to go MLL again.
Yeah, and it's a similar way of storytelling to what you'd get in that classic like American territories, like a Memphis kind of thing, where it's like, all right, we have to have a reason to get these fans back to the Mid-South Coliseum, like, the next week and the next week, and you do that by doing these kind of finishes. So I guess you can actually see how it actually works and then how that can translate to actually drawing money. As opposed to like, all the stuff you watch on TV now, it's like you get a screw finish and you're just like, dude, I don't see how this makes me want to watch, any more of this. It actually kind of does the opposite.
Yeah.
But like when you watch it like this, you're like, okay, I get it.
Exactly. Like the screw finish is never like a means to an end. It's just like we're just getting this guy as the heel for tonight, rather than like this happened because of this and this is going to happen next time and that's going to lead into this, and then all of a sudden these guys are having like a cage match, and it's like, you know, a good kind of send off or finale or whatever. It's a great match, and like the pacing is great too because it's like three different clear stories in one match, and it's also only like what 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's a just all action the whole time, and it just is
Yeah,
totally
exactly.
different to what you'd watch, you know, in a lot of other places.
Mm-hmm.
What I loved about it, I think.
Yep.
But yeah, this was my
good gear.
my kind of like, I don't know, this what like Satánico obviously went a bit longer than this, but I think this was the time where it's like you knew he was kind of like going towards the end of his run, so I was really just wanting to watch as much Satánico as I could at this point. And dude, I'm still such a fan of his. Like, you watch any of his shit, like whether it's from I had another one that I watched recently of him like in the mid 80s that was just absolutely incredible. Like more recent stuff when he's just like really old but still such a badass, still has those amazing punches. Like I'm a big Satánico fan.
Yeah, I'd love to watch more of his stuff because he's just like, it's such a good, iconic dude, and everybody's name is so good. Like Ultimo Guerrero is like Last Warrior, and like El Satánico. It's just like, it's just like they're just such good names, and it's like I think CMLL. I saw a thing come up on Twitter the other day. I think I messaged you the other week, and I was saying that like, because I've been on Twitter so long and like I don't post anymore, and like, but I don't really follow anyone anymore either, and so like all the accounts that I follow, I get like pumped into an algorithm of like all these just like crazy old wrestling clips that will just like show up in my feed, and it's so good. But I saw like a mad CMLL one today or yesterday, and it was like three characters that were like the Taliban. They were just like part of the Taliban.
Dude, did you catch the entrance music?
No, everyone said the entrance music was really good, but I was at work.
It's like so it's like, yeah, these dudes doing like a Taliban gimmick like right after 9/11, and their entrance music, yeah, like their actual team name is like Los Talibanes, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. They're the baby faces.
And they're just like Mexican dudes dressed up as like the Taliban. Fantastic. And the entrance music is like I'm pretty sure it's like Backstreet Boys. Like the, oh my god, we're back again. It's mind-blowingly great.
That's beautiful. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that. It's
a simpler time.
It's just so good because it's like chuck on a mask and it doesn't matter. Like you it's just funny. It's like it solves a lot of the world's problems. More people need to wear masks when they're being serious about stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
All right, we get to our final match of the evening here. Match of the week number 122. This is our aforementioned AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura match. This one took place earlier in the year on AJ Styles' final road to retirement. This was on January 24th at Saturday night's main event from the Bell Center in Montreal. And this was like going to be the last time ever that we got to see AJ wrestle Shinsuke Nakamura. They had some absolutely like incredible matches in New Japan. As you mentioned, like I honestly think most of their WWE matches were pretty disappointing, like for the legend of what both of these guys are. And I feel like this match, like as the final kind of like send off, just brought it all back, and we're like, okay, yeah, we really see what these two are like still capable of, but like just how absolutely incredible they are. And I think this one blew everyone's expectations out of the water for how great it ended up being.
Yeah. And I saw a lot of people were really like kind of not happy with like the WrestleMania match ending the way it did, and you know, people were a little bit burnt by it, like, and it's like, you know, they brought in Nakamura, and they gave him the good NXT run, and then they gave him AJ Styles at WrestleMania, and it was just like an absolute flop because it was just like overbooked or whatever, like what they should have got. And then they only got to wrestle like a few more times, just as whatever. But crazy to think that AJ Styles is nearly 50.
Yeah, dude. I mean,
and like him hitting like just perfect drop kick, like just so athletic and so just picture perfect in everything that he's done.
it blows my mind, man, like how great he still was at like 48 years old. Like see
Mhm.
so many of these dudes from like AJ Styles to me was like a dude I started watching in the early 2000s. First got into like TNA and Ring of Honor, and I was like, this guy is just incredible, right? Like PWG, like all those like that awesome indie scene of the time. And someone who's like going that hard at that time, you're like, all right, well, they're clearly gonna like slow down when they get into their later age. And
Mhm.
to be fair, we definitely did see like a much more slowed down version of AJ Styles for probably like much of his WWE run, at least compared to, the version of him in TNA or in the Indies or in Japan. But damn, dude, if he didn't like just bring it back and turn it up for like this final run, and I can't think of anyone that like just finished it like at their best like he has.
Yeah, yeah. I thought it was really good. And did you watch the Gunther match?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, that ends up being my match of the week for the following week. But I adored that.
Oh, really?
Man.
Okay, great.
Yeah, that was like my favorite match I'd seen in so long.
Yeah, right.
But
I need
yeah,
to
I
go
just
back and
feel
watch it.
like AJ Styles like really just finished it on a high, and you don't see that most of the time
Hmm.
with a lot of guys when they hang it up and when they reach retirement.
Hmm. Or they'll hang it up and then they'll just be back like a year later or
Yeah,
2 years later or 5 years later. It's just that they can't get away from it. So it'd be cool to see if he just like actually just leaves it at that, because I thought that like it was a good finish. Like it started really slow, and like both of them look a bit older. Like I mean, Styles still looks amazing. Like he's looked the same for friggin' what 25, nearly 30 years. Um, but like just everything, like it was like, oh, I don't know, like how's it gonna go? Because you've seen like I think I saw the Wrestle Kingdom match like back in the day,
mm,
and then like I've seen them both separately like do stuff, and then I haven't watched consistently for so long, and being like these are people that I remember liking a lot, and being like this, and then it kind of started quite slow, and I was like, oh, I was like, I hope that it picks up, and it just got so good like towards the end, like just everything just it built really well, and it was like they just gave them the time, and they just kind of got to like do everything the way that they wanted, and it just came out so nice. Like I thought it was great.
oh yeah, dude. I think the pacing of it and the build was just something masterful. Because yeah, it sort of like starts out like, all right, we'll see what this ends up being, and the amount of time that it got, I thought was something that I really appreciated. Because like when I remember seeing this
Hmm.
one announced, I was like, oh man, they'll probably only give that like I don't know, 10, 11 minutes if they're lucky kind of thing. And then just
Mm,
be like a real nothing thing and probably end up like with, some bullshit like Walter run in or something. Um,
yeah,
and this was just incredible. Like they were just like, yeah, dudes, all
a
right,
good match.
go out
Yeah.
there and do whatever you want to do and whatever you think you're capable of doing. And I feel like they just proved to everyone that they both can still wrestle. Like, I mean, I don't know if I went back and watched like some of their New Japan classics, like what I'd think in terms of a direct comparison, but especially like looking at like how many more years they have on them compared to that time. This is just
100%.
incredible to see.
Hmm. And yeah, just like both of them, you can tell like really want to put on a show,
Yeah,
and the crowd's fully into it as well. Like I think that it's in Canada,
yeah,
so I think that makes it a little bit, you know, the crowd's a little bit more into it because maybe WWE hasn't been there as much or something like that. Like they probably only go there once a year.
I've always thought like Montreal crowd specifically, like Montreal's always been a really good crowd. Like they always have loved wrestling. They're always just like so there for wrestling.
Uh-huh.
So I think that was part of it. But yeah, I definitely remember thinking when I was watching this thing, like, dude, this crowd is like hyped for this match. And like I think the crowd really brought it.
Like every single person just like singing along to Nakamura's entrance.
Yes.
It's a pretty iconic entrance too, like the music and everything kind of like are very good for, I guess, singing along to.
Definitely. But yeah, it also like kind of had a lot of nods too. There was some stuff that I remember, like, oh yeah, I remember this in New Japan. You know, it was like they were acknowledging kind of like this part of their rivalry that wasn't even in WWE. And a lot of those kind of like standoffs and different little like taunts and stuff. And I thought that was really, really cool. Like that's clearly something that they don't necessarily have to do, but they're just like I think AJ has a lot of reverence for that period of his career in New Japan.
For sure. Yeah. I mean everybody wanted to work New Japan like back in the day. Like it was like, you know, from what 2010 to 2000 and whatever, like I mean all the people we knew were like that was like if you could get anything with them, it was so good.
Oh, yeah.
And like just the production value, everything. But I feel like it's also like, you know, I'm probably speaking out of my depth because it's been so long since I've been fully tapped in. But like, I feel like all of the like alternative wrestling is so accessible now. So you're like your casual fans have a lot more exposure to these type of guys, and you know, like someone like guys used to get picked up when they were like in their mid-20s or, you know, mid to late 20s, and they didn't have as much of a track record, where someone like AJ Styles has just kind of been around since the late 90s doing awesome stuff. And that stuff has kind of become online and, you know, through a period where the internet was growing. So if you were like a big true wrestling fan, you could watch it, but also later on, if you're a big true wrestling fan, that's not just a VHS tape that's lost to the sands of time. It's like on YouTube. So you can just go and watch that old stuff or like, you know, go and find it. And like, actually, if you really care and you want to know, you can go back through. So like when people in a WWE crowd watch a match like this, I think it felt like it meant a little more. Like the crowd was just so into it. Like, and I thought that was really cool because it's like, you know, WWE still has their own right of, you know, accessibility and how much content they have and how many people, you know, have worked there for so long that they have their own reputations and have all that stuff. But it's cool to see that like WWE in their later years or over the last 10 years or so, maybe since Triple H has done more stuff with it, or I don't know, like I'm just so out of it. But like they do acknowledge a lot more outside wrestling and they kind of let guys do stuff.
Yeah, I think that's a very accurate statement because even like, you know, the difference of when it was still like Vince Jr. running it and between now, like that was still like that was
like they just wouldn't even acknowledge that there was another company.
Like
yeah.
Hey, if it happens outside of here, it doesn't count. This is the big leagues, pal. You know, it's like this where it's like feels like a very different.
Yeah, and it was like such a big thing for like. It was such a big thing for like the WCW guys to like sneak onto set or like sneak onto a WWE show and like record a 30-second thing and get out of there or whatever, like because, you know, it was so edgy and so weird and so like, you know, I wouldn't say taboo or something, but like it just was unheard of. Like people wouldn't do it. And it's like if you worked for WWE, then you weren't allowed to do house shows anywhere else. You weren't allowed to work for other places. You weren't allowed to kind of do all that stuff. Whereas now, like, I think they even said, like, I think Shinsuke Nakamura did like a New Japan show, like a reunion show or something while he was still under WWE contract.
He was, so that was a bit of a controversial thing. So he was meant to be Tanahashi's final opponent in New Japan at the Tokyo Dome because they had like this big rivalry together, and then it is rumored that AEW got that blocked, and so he didn't get to go over and do that. But he did, Shinsuke, get to do a bunch of cool stuff in Noah, which was very cool to see.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, because I was
yeah.
looking at all the Japanese stuff, so I think I got it mixed up. But yeah, and then I ran into all the like Noah like, controversy that happened with them as well, like post, is it Misawa?
Oh yeah, yeah,
All the Yakuza stuff, and then them not being allowed to like do fucking shows and like having to like let go of people off their roster because of all that shit.
Yeah, dude, you could do a whole series of podcasts on like the sort of downfall of Noah and the Yakuza scandals, and then them sort of like working their way back up in the post Misawa era. Yeah, I'm obviously a big nerd of that because I really love pro wrestling Noah, but this one I think was just like, yeah, it was a sign of the times that like even like a Michael Cole, right, is able to be talking about AJ's time in like New Japan and like their match in New Japan. Like that was kind of like mind blowing. But I really enjoyed the commentary of this, like hearing the difference in like Michael Cole, even like from that like sort of Vince era, where you always hear that he would just have Vince like shouting in his microphone, in his earphones, versus like when he just is sort of, you could tell he's like really enjoying this in a pure way, which I was just like, that's so refreshing and nice.
To still be a massive fan after like 20 years of, you know, having to do the same thing every other night.
And probably having like any sense of passion just beaten out of you on a nightly basis.
Oh, especially it's just they're all such carnies as well. Like it's so funny at like the highest level. It's just like you just hear stories of Vince and fucking Triple H and even just other people backstage. Like you're just like, oh my god! Like coming from like working at a fucking company that sells computers, where like couldn't even like imagine saying anything out of turn or like whatever, and then like just hearing stories of just people being the biggest douchebags or just like outright screaming at someone like in front of other people or whatever. It's like HR is just got to be a foreign concept in any wrestling promotion.
Oh man, for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, highlights of the match: the big strike trade off, and then like the counters into the giant. Is it AJ Styles' knee?
Was this a lot more stiff than you were expecting?
It was, yeah. Like the Nakamura kicks, especially, was so good, and all of them were so clean. Like just all shin, just like hitting exactly where he wanted it to. He's always so good at that.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of people try it, and like they don't always hit it, and it's like sometimes you watch it and you're like someone's just copying like a toe to like the sternum or like something like just like where you're just watching like I'm watching the wind leave somebody's body. Whereas like getting like a cool clean like slap off the chest like is such a cool look because it's like you're pushing your shin into them and like whatever, but it's so hard to like angle up because it's like your hips have to be able to do it and the other person has to be in the right position or you need to be able to kind of move around and whatever. And him just hitting like maybe 20 kicks during this match and they were all just like pretty spot on.
It really makes you appreciate like just how good these guys are kind of thing, especially when you watch like it's such a common thing on like the indies or, you know, other places where it's like people are sort of trying to copy that and they're clearly not quite as good. So it's just like, okay.
It's played out, right? Because there's moves that everybody loves. And so it's like, you know, you're going to watch that move, you know, 4 or 5 different matches on a show, or like a super kick, or you know, a forearm, or like a Euro uppercut, European
uppercut. Yeah,
I don't know what I'm saying.
You got it.
European uppercut. I had it, but the like just the tech, like that's a technical side of it. Like it's as pure as the catch as catch can style, or you know, hitting a move to the outside or hitting something off the top rope or landing perfectly on someone or whatever. Like these kicks and these punches and these moves like they are technical in themselves, and people look at them sometimes, they take them for granted a little bit as like a throwaway as part of a match. But oftentimes, and especially in matches like this, they are the match. Like that is the match. It's like them, you know, beating each other up and putting it all out there and proving that, they can take it as well as give it. And, it just kind of, it adds to the fire of a match. And it's like one of the subtle things where it's like anybody can throw a kick or a punch, but then there are some guys that'll just like really kind of land something or whatever. Like that Styles knee, like that had to hurt. Like there's just no way. It's like he kind of like fell into it, but like his whole body like folds perfectly, and it just looks so brutal.
Yeah.
But then he just gets up, and it's like it's just still the match. Like it's so good. Like it just looks so mean and so painful and so awesome. But like he didn't like kill him or like knock him out or anything. Like it's just so good.
He almost did.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some CTE that he might have received.
There were a bunch of like AJ knees in this though that were so good, and I think that is interesting because like AJ, at least from what I've seen, not normally a dude that does a bunch of knees, but I assume that was like clearly part of the story, of like him doing a lot of Shinsuke stuff and that like classic.
But they were counters as well, right? Like it was his move that he normally does, or something where he throws out and like, is it the Kashinya?
It was the Bombay in New Japan, but I think they renamed it because that's like some sort of controversy.
Yeah, some
the Kinshasa.
Oh, really?
The
Kinshasa, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And but it was like, yeah, they were kind of doing each other's moves, and that was kind of like, because it's like that's like, what made WrestleMania 17 like so special was that like The Rock and Stone Cold had built up this massive feud, and they'd never, they hadn't really had a big thing like they'd had matches with or like triple threats or other people were involved or whatever, and then having this like big kind of awesome payoff like at WrestleMania, and them just like doing each other's moves, like, and the crowd just absolutely eating it up. And people try and do that stuff all the time, and it's like they'll do it cheaply on like a week show or like a weekly show or a house show or whatever. And it's like those type of things should be saved for big events like that. And I felt like this was one of those matches where it's like, you'll happily watch these two guys like do each other's moves to each other and kick out of them as like a hot finish. Like it was like one of those matches that like warrants it and like made it look good.
Oh yeah, and I think it's just a lot of it is dependent on how good the guys are, because like you even would see, like I remember going to one of the big WrestleMania shows in like New York, and it was like The Rock and John Cena in like the main event, and a big part of the match was just built about them doing each other's moves, but they just did it to such a level of redundancy that it just felt like none of it mattered. It was just like, all right, now he's just gonna do another rock bottom, or now he's gonna do an F. It's like. And I feel like
100%.
everyone in the crowd, just no one even cared anymore, by the end of it. And so a lot of it
would have been done so much.
Yes. Yeah.
And like they'd had such a big rivalry in so many matches because it was like The Rock would just come back like every couple of years or whatever and be like, I'm just going to fight John Cena, or I'm just going to like, just do whatever's the money thing and like kind of phone it all in. And it's like kind of people knew that he was only part-time, and like even later in John Cena's career, he was doing the same thing. And like it's like coming back and having these one-offs or whatever, but it's just like the same people or like the same kind of stories, and they're not as special because it's like the only way you can be like main event and top of the card in a promotion or in wrestling, I mean, is if you're still working full time. And like I feel like being on the show every week, having all these different rivalries, having a chance to build something up, and like Brock Lesnar did the same thing where it's like, he's a beast and he does all these cool things and he has cool moves and he looks real violent and whatever. But it's like, it just kind of shows up with like John Cena and The Rock and like Brock Lesnar. Like they would come back and be these main event guys that people, they were like pushing them as things people wanted to see, but people didn't. People kind of like, I felt like fans kind of resented the fact that they were part-time.
Yeah.
And it's like
if
you're going to retire. Yeah. And it's like, if you're going to retire, like, announce it and just have 3 more months of matches and do all the stuff you want to do and have all the send-offs and do it right, instead of like, I'm just going to come back for 2 months every 2 years or whatever. And then it's like, you just expect everyone to fork out their cash and, do whatever. And, the casuals will, but like, if you're, you know, OG or whatever. Like I feel like guys like AJ he kind of gets it where it's like, you know, and like Daniel Bryan kind of did it, and he came back. Like I feel like he felt like, well, he had to medically retire, and like Edge and other people did that as well. Oh, excuse me. But they had to they came back, and then they kind of came back properly, where they came back full time.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like I always felt like your Brock Lesnar's and your friggin' Rock, like just kind of, it was a big signing, and it was just felt like a big cash grab like all the time, and it didn't really feel authentic. And like The Rock would come out and be like, "Here's my same old shtick," and then at the end, like people were so sick of it that he would come back, and then they would be like, "Oh, well, he's just heel now." And it's like, no, like people are just sick of him. You know, well, that's how it felt to me. That's how I felt.
I think you're right. I think the bloom was definitely off the rose by that last one, but I honestly think it just gives me a lot more respect for dudes like this, dudes like AJ, who are like, you know what? I feel like I'm not going to be at my top of my game anymore, like that much longer after this. So now's just my time. I'm just gonna. This is where I'm going to call it. Even though he probably could have serviceably gone for another 4 or 5 more years, just easily cash in those checks if he really wanted to. But no, he's like, you know what?
Yeah, make a few $1 million a year.
I mean, and he might still make those comebacks, like we're saying, like do the classic Terry Funk or Ric Flair coming back out of retirement 6 dozen times. But I don't know.
Yeah,
I respect it if he does.
At least he did this one right.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah,
such a great.
But yeah, it felt good, and it was a fun match, and like it was you could tell like Nakamura was really like in it, and like everyone was really happy. Like they just everyone had like he'd been just pushed to the mid card and just doing whatever for the last few years, supposedly. And so for him to get a good match as well, like I think people were really happy with, from what I could see.
Yeah, for sure. I was, man, because I was like the biggest Shinsuke fan in New Japan, and then I really just couldn't watch much of his WWE stuff because it was just not the same level of effort or presented in the same way, I guess. But I think on one night here, we just get shown okay, he still is capable of being that dude, and that just made me really, really happy.
Yeah, that's awesome, and he's also kind of up there in age as well. Like he's pretty close to AJ Styles.
Yeah, I mean,
not that's something you would think of off the top of your head, and it's funny to think about from all the DVDs I'd watch off you years and years ago, 15 years ago, watching matches that were 5 or 6 years old then, and they're babies, just doing crazy stuff, and now it's now they're just grizzled old vets. That's doing wild, it one last time.
Oh, I still do not understand how we are in an age where Shinsuke Nakamura is 46 years old and AJ Styles is 48. This is wild.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? It's just they're in it for the love of the game, and I'm out of the business for 10 years, being my back is so sore. This guy's 48. Jacked to hell, doing backflips and perfect drop kicks and throwing himself at the ring like full bull. It's you demon, good for you.
Yeah, dude, I'm the same. I was I was at the gym tonight trying to do some pec flies, and one rep in, and I feel I fucked my shoulder. I was just oh dear.
Your arms are shaking on the way back down. So funny. I bought an electric bike for work.
Yeah.
Just to ride to work. It's just a little pedal assist motor, but it's as soon as you put it above 4th gear, the motor doesn't work as well because of Australian laws or whatever. The bike can only go it'll only give you assist to 25 k's an hour.
Yeah.
So as soon as you get to 25 k's an hour and you start to put the gears up, the motor just drops out, and I'm just riding this 25 kilo bike with no assist. Just getting pissed off. I'm fucking hell, I used to do 500 squats in a row, and now I'm barely riding this e-bike. When the motor rides out, I'm riding to work. I'm fucking pissed off. So dumb.
Oh, well, look, keep at it, man. I'm interested to hear if, like,
Yeah, I'm
after a
sure it'll
bit
get a
more,
lot easier.
bit more practice, you'll be killing it in a couple months' time.
Yeah, and get back on the road bike. It's good. It was pretty timely. I thought it would be a good idea to get one before petrol goes to $4 a liter.
Oh
Um,
gosh, I didn't even think about that.
it's
Yeah,
so expensive.
smart.
Yeah, so I'm like, I bet you if I try to buy one in like 3 months, it's going to be like none
Yeah,
available because everyone's going to lap them up. So I'm like, I get it now. And yeah, this one was like maybe like a year or so old, and this guy had barely ridden it. And I think he paid like 2,000 retail for it, and I got it for like $750.
damn, nice,
And he'd
man.
barely touched it. So yeah, and the battery lasts for ages. Like even on the highest setting, like I think I get about 80 Ks out of the battery. So I've ridden it 4 times and like to and from places, and it's only just starting to run low today.
That's really good. Have you been much of like a bike guy in the past?
I bought a flat bar road bike. I had a bike that Davis gave me actually
Mm.
when Sydney because I had like a giant whatever, and then he was like moving to the UK, so he's like, "You can have my bike," and his bike was better than mine, so I was like, "Oh fuck it, I'll sell my bike and I'll take that one to Sydney." And when I first moved to Sydney, my car wasn't registered, so I used to ride to work all the time. And then all these freaking angry Sydney truck drivers would try and run you off the road for like riding fucking 35 and a 40
I was
zone.
gonna say the prospect of riding a bike in Sydney sounds absolutely terrifying.
Well, there's where I am now to work is like on if you look at it on Google Maps, it's like 87% bike paths.
Oh, great.
So it's like I only have to ride on the road for like a couple hundred meters. It's so good. It's really handy.
That
But yeah,
sounds
that bike that
fantastic.
I had that Davis gave me, I friggin' someone stole it out of my yard when I was in Dulwich Hill. Um, and then not the house you stayed at, the one we were at before that.
Right, right.
But then I ended up buying like a flat bar road bike, but the tires are so thin, and I just have like the thinnest, dumbest little seat. You just ride it, and it just like hammers your gooch for like a week. So I was like, I probably won't have the stamina to like ride that all the way to work. So I was like, I'll get the e-bike, and then once I get a bit fitter and whatever, I can start riding the other bike again as well. But yeah, it's a good little easy transport to work, and the ride is honestly like maybe 5 minutes longer than the drive, so it's like actually really easy.
That's nuts. Why does anyone drive cars?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is. I was thinking of buying a new car,
Hmm.
and yeah, everything's just going so crazy at the moment. I was like, I don't want to. I was like, I want to get a car with a little turbo in it. And I want to have a bit of fun and have a bit of extra disposable income and spend it on a nice car. And then I was like, well, if petrol's going to be $4 a liter.
Yikes. Yeah, I try not to drive as
We
much
love
as I
it.
possibly can. I'm very grateful we have the trains. That's pretty well my main way of getting around since I moved up here. But yeah, I would like to get back
Yeah,
into riding
nice.
bikes a bit more.
Yeah, you got to do it. It's so nice around your area too.
Oh yeah, so it's a lot of hills, but other than that, it's a beautiful, beautiful area to ride around or just to soak it all up. But dude,
Exactly.
thank you so much for tonight. This has been an excellent chat about 3 matches that I was like real interested to see what you thought because I knew you'd love the Eddie match, but these other 2 matches were kind of like out of nowhere. So I was yeah, it was quite fascinating to hear how they hit for you, especially
Yeah, I really liked all of them.
probably not watching a lot of that kind of stuff for a bit of a while.
And it's cool to like. I love when you send me an old like CMLL match or like I was even though we were talking, I was like, we got to do a friggin' we were talking about it when you were here last time about doing like an old Wide World of
Mm.
Sport match as well,
Oh
and getting what's his
yes,
name? Is it
yeah.
Les
Oh,
Lou?
Les Kellett.
Absolute weapon. Les
Yeah,
Kellett. That's
dude.
it. That's it.
Like some
Um.
rollerball
Oh
Rocco,
shit.
that kind of
I
stuff.
should. Is this your? So when you hit stop, that just automatically uploads?
Yes, 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 it
Uh,
will do.
I'm on 2% battery, so I'm
Oh,
gonna
all right. Well, let's finish this up now. Thank you so much, my friend. I will.
Yeah,
I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks for coming on, man.
no worries, dude, and I'll chat to you soon.
Yeah, all right. Sounds good. All right. What a bloody lovely chat there with Josh. Thank you so much, man. Sorry we had to end that a little bit on the abrupt side. In case anyone was wondering, we were able to save it, and his battery did not die. It was a scary moment there for a moment when we were thinking it was lost, and we were getting some scary error messages, but it all worked out. So yeah, thank you for that to the I don't know, whoever makes these things happen. Thank you to you as well, the listener, for listening to our chat. I hope you had a bit of fun with that. I hope I didn't annoy you too much with my rambling nonsense, but when I get talking to a mate like Josh about wrestling, that's my happy place. I have a good time. So sometimes you can't help but blurt something out and cut someone off, and yeah, I guess that's also kind of how we have a chat, like us kind of ADD folks, from what I've learned so far. In having that and surrounding myself with a lot of friends who likely also share that neurospiciness, but you do what you do. I appreciate everyone out there for listening, for supporting. Again, like I said, I hope you get a kick out of the show and this stuff. I still love doing this. I still love making these podcasts. It still kind of keeps my sanity a little bit in working up here in the hills of the Sunshine Coast. But yeah, if you guys would care to support the show, the Chris Things, my art, all the rest of it, as we said earlier in the show, christhings.com.au is the place to go. That's the website. That's where you can find my art prints, my some originals, t-shirts. We've still got a couple of those calendars. And I just, one thing I forgot in the intro, I actually sent out the last one of the Chris Things Match of the Week Year 1 book to a lucky someone that reached out about it. And I was going through my sort of very well organized stuff area, and I found that I had one more that I didn't know was there. So I was stoked to send that out the other day. To my friend who got that one. If you're listening, thank you. Happy for the last copy to be going to someone who really wanted it. If you are out there and you were interested in that Match of the Week Year 1 book, please do let me know. I haven't ended up doing a reprint run of it yet, just because I'm not really sure that the demand would be there, to be honest, and it's a bit tricky to just get these things on a one-off basis. Also, I have been thinking for a while, I need to be getting that Match of the Week Year 2 book out. If you were wondering, if you liked the first book and you're wondering what was happening, yes, I do have plans to do a second one. But it's just like, where do you find the time, dude? But hopefully, as I was saying earlier in the intro, I can spend my time a little bit more wisely, and get this thing done. I would really love to put a Year 2 book out there. There was some formatting stuff that I was sort of like umming and ahhing on, but I don't know. We'll see how we go. But Match of the Week Year 2. If you'd be interested in that, please also send me a message. I'll probably put a pre-order up at some point, but keep your eyes peeled on that front. You also got the events page on that website. That's where you can see all my upcoming events and such, as well as the contact page where you can click on that and you can send me a little email. should you want a commission, or even if you just want to say hi. I'm also contactable at on Instagram, where you can keep up with all my stuff at Chris Things on Instagram if you're not already aware. And you can always swing me a message on there. But yeah, if you ever have any things you'd like raised on the show, if you ever have any comments or whatnot about the podcast, I do really love to hear that. Sometimes I do get messages from people to say they do listen to this thing, and it makes me very happy. You also can send donations, I believe. Info of that should be in the description area of this podcast, I think. If you want to pay for my coffee addiction, or just chip in, that's always appreciated too. But I don't do this, just to try to I guess you squeeze as much money out as I can. As you can imagine, this thing's probably not the largest money-making operation, but it's about passion. It's about doing things that I love. It's about sharing that passion with other people that dig that. And the more I do it, the more I realize that's really what it is. It's about celebrating unique and obscure passions. So, yeah, man, I'm enjoying it. And I hope that I can continue doing this for as long as humanly possible. I also would like to say a big old thank you to the great team at Social Suplex. Socialsuplex.com is the website of that thing. That's the podcasting hub that allows me to do this podcast for 107 episodes here. How about that? But you can check out the other Social Suplex podcasts on the Social Suplex Podcasting Network, from One Nation Radio to Keeping It Strong Style, the New Japan podcast of the network, where you can likely hear a lot more informed New Japan content than my rambles earlier in this episode. But also got Tunnel Talk, the Trish and Sarah podcast, Imp's WWE Adventure, All Things Elite, Joshi podcast, I believe, all of the things. So thank you, Social Suplex, for allowing us to do this thing. And if you'd like more not social suplex stuff necessarily, but wrestling podcast stuff, man, my brain is just... Whenever I start that social suplex thing, in not the right order, I just end up so tongue-tied. And here we are. A more professional podcasting host would edit that out, but I'm going to leave it in. Man, this coffee's really, I need a bit more of it, I think. Anyway, I have some art to make this afternoon. I hope you guys have an absolutely wonderful week. I hope if you've got any creative things that you like to make, that you have on the go, you're enjoying them. I hope you're enjoying the making, if that's the kind of thing that you're doing, or just try to take a moment to pause and enjoy it as much as you humanly can. Hope you're enjoying the wrestling that you might be watching. If you ever have a wrestling match recommendation, I would love to hear it. Who knows, it might end up a match of the week sometime. But yeah, guys, I consider everyone that listens to this little old podcast my friend, and I hope you guys are enjoying life, friends. I think that's the end of my long-winded rambles today. So until next week, or maybe not next week, we do this on a bi-weekly podcasting schedule at the moment, so the week after that, but whatever, until next time, I've been Chris Things, and this is Wrestling Art with Chris Things. Enjoy!